ERIKATESLA here. If you are new, thank you so much for deciding to click on this video, and if you're returning, I'm so glad to have you back. Today I wanted to talk to you about a brand new Adept Cosmetics collection, the Unity Collection, which includes a eyeshadow palette and a face palette. I got the palette a little bit later. I don't know what it is that the mail carriers have against Maryland, but it takes me a while to get things. I have this beauty in my hands, and I have a little demo of this look and another look that I did with this palette yesterday. And so this is the Unity palette. It's beautiful. It's got those Adept shimmers, and then we have the Duality face palette, which is a 6-pan palette. So you've got blushes and highlighters slash cheek toppers that I look at these shades, and I think they can also double as eye shades if you wanted to do that. So here is the collection. Again, it is available. I think the palette, the eyeshadow palette's $52 and the face palette's $37. If you guys want to save a little bit of money on this collection, if it's of interest to you, my code Erika will save you 10%. I will link that information down below for you guys, but here's the collection. And so for today's video, I just want to share my thoughts on the palette, first impressions, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And I'll throw up some looks and swatches for you guys while I'm talking about the palette. But the first thing I do want to show you guys is this palette and just give you my first impressions of it. So this is a typical Adept format, the 15-pan palette, and you've got 10 beautiful shimmers here and 5 mattes, and I really do like the formulas Adept uses. I'm a big fan of the matte formula. I do really like how you're able to blend and build the shades, and I do want to note this shade Live a Little. Okay, when I saw this, I was a little bit intimidated, guys, because when I swatched it, and you'll see in my swatches, like, it looks really rich. It's very intense, but I was very pleasantly surprised that it wasn't just straight up pigment. I was able to build it and blend it and sheer it out. So I would say if you're looking at this color and you're feeling intimidated, please don't feel overwhelmed by that shade. It's beautiful. But yes, the shades are gorgeous, and what I really like about this color story is that it is, like, to me, like a romantic fall palette. I think of kind of like bejeweled florals a little bit, because you have the pink and you have this like green that's called moss, very appropriately so, and it's just giving like fall romance vibes, and I am here for it. This first column, which is kind of how I like to break up Adept palettes, guys, because I personally, I do think you can do an all shimmer look, but I like to pull in a matte base and then put shimmers on top of that and layer on top of that. But you can absolutely do an all shimmer look if that is your preference. But I really like how this first column here is totally neutral, just subtle glam vibes here. And I'm gonna just like kind of do a little bit of swatching of this shimmer's bronzy shade and kind of like a coppery shade here. And I really like that a lot, because these are really nice shades for like a one and done type of situation. Like, you could absolutely just like have these shades on the lid and be ready to go, and throw on some mascara. And then we have this Tranquil Tone shade, which I think is a really nice transitional color. And then we have Tranquility and Petals, Moss in the second row here, and this is like a whole vibe right here, like Tranquility and Petals. I used Petals in my first look, but again, you have these really nice shimmer shades that you can use together or alone. And then I think the most kind of quote unquote bold shimmers in the palette are Rose Orchid and the Peaceful Path. They're bright, but again, you can sheer these out, you can build these up. The best way to apply an Adept shimmer is typically with the finger, so that's how I usually apply them. Then we have Serene Spirit Serenade, and Live a Little. And Serene Spirit's really pretty. It's got like a rose gold tone to it. And then we have Serenade, which is silvery, but it has like a blue brown to it almost. Like when you look at it really close, it's really subtle. Okay guys, like I'm over here struggling with like my allergy situation. So if I sound a little congested, the allergies on the East Coast are no joke this time of year, guys. So anyway, so you can, hopefully you can see what I'm talking about on camera. And I'm just going through and using a makeup wipe in between swipes here to show you guys how these look on the finger. And then we have Balanced Beauty and Balanced Bond. Like, look at that. So Balanced Beauty is such a pretty light gold, and then Balanced Bond is like a more cool tone gold shade. I'm really excited to see these two in a palette. Pat McGrath came out with a holiday palette a few years ago that has some similar shades to these. And I would say for the price point, like the value that you're getting out of this Adept palette for like the types of shimmers that you're getting, it was really exciting for me to see something comparable. And I had to find that one. I feel like it was like Bronze Borealis or something like that. I knew that I had it nearby because I love this palette. But anyway, I have this Pat McGrath palette here, you guys. Do you see this shade right here? This is Lunar Luxury. I don't think that she makes this anymore. This was like a holiday palette. And then this shade, let's see, this shade Balanced Bond. So this is the Lunar Luxury. This is Balanced Bond. We have Balanced Beauty, which is like a little bit deeper, but really like these two. So I'm gonna swatch really quickly for you guys. So this is Pat's shade Lunar Luxury. That's Lunar Luxury. And then this is Balanced Bond. So not exact dupes, but I'm just saying, like, if you were looking for the brightness, now I will say like Pat's formula is, it feels a little creamier, but, and this, the Adept formula feels a little bit thinner, but if you were looking for like a similar look, I feel confident that you could get that. And then let's see, Serenade. Let's see, Serenade's like a little bit deeper. I don't think it's really like a true match. No, it's not a true match. The whole point of that exercise, guys, was to just give you an idea of how Adept shimmers, they have that special element to them. They elevate a look. I have Serenade on today. I'll show you guys the look in a little bit. Adept shimmers are some of my favorite. Whenever I wear an Adept palette, I get tons of questions and compliments, and just understandably so. So I would say for $52, and that was kind of my point comparing this to a Pat McGrath Quint, which can also like pre-sale price be in that price range. To get 15 shades for that price point for this quality, I think is really good. So I'm going to throw up some swatches for you guys while I talk about the eyeshadow palette. Again, this is retailing for $52. You have 15 shades, 10 shimmers, and 5 mattes. And what I like about this color story is that it's very much appropriate for fall. However, depending on how you pull out these shades, you can absolutely make these work for any time of year. And you can definitely make this work as a more like neutral leaning palette. I think the shade Tranquil Tone, which is this kind of muted, cool, like, how would I say that? It's like a muted, cool, like very light brown shade. That kind of works as a nice base shade for just grounding like neutral looks. And like I said, Live a Little, it does look really intense in the pan. It looks intense on swatches, but this is where, again, sometimes how you swatch things on the arm is not always how it's going to perform on the eye. And so I was really pleasantly surprised with how I was able to sheer that shade out and get a look that was still visually interesting, but not necessarily like hot magenta. It was a really, really nice look. I'm really excited about Balanced Brown, which has a question mark over it. I'm not sure if they meant for there to be a question mark there after that shade, but again, you have like a deepening shade here that works well with the other colors. Let's talk about this face palette, my friends. So this face palette is really interesting to me. I have tried purple blushes before and I've tried ombre blushes before, but it has been a while. I feel like the last time I tried an ombre blush was when MAC came out with the ombre blushes. Let me know if you guys remember those back in the day when holiday collections for MAC would sell out on release, which I think on occasion might still happen, but probably not very often. They had some ombre blushes with one collection and I had it for a while. And a lot of people were upset because I think it was like an overspray. I don't know if it really truly was ombre down through the product. I could be wrong. If you guys remember that time in makeup history, please feel free to correct me. But this shade Duality 1, it is through and through an ombre blush and the formula is really beautiful. It's what I have on right now. I did go ham in the tutorial, which I'll show you guys in a minute, but I just kind of went back over it just for like daytime wear because these shades are beautifully pigmented. They are buildable, which I really appreciate. The one that I haven't worn out yet. Now, see, I've tried all three of these blush shades. I've tried Orange Pearl and sometimes Violet. I haven't worn Roses or Red. Actually, I might just like tap that on to show you guys like how that looks. That's really pretty. It's like a rosy sheen. That's just me applying it with my finger really quickly so you can see a little bit of the flush that it gives to the skin. That's really nice. I'm gonna actually put some on this side as well so you can see. Oh my gosh, I'm telling you guys, these seasonal allergies are no joke. Allegra is holding my entire life together. But this is Roses Are Red. This is a really, really stunning face palette. And another reason I'm going to tell you I was excited about this collection, and I'm going to pop up the swatches of the face palette while I talk about this. I was really excited to see some pigmented shades, and I will say, for me, I have appreciated how Adept has been thoughtful around making sure the shades are those that can be worn for as many people as possible. So in particular, I really like Magenta. I really like Duality 1. Now, Honey Never Spoils. It's kind of this mauve-y shade. That's the only one that was not really amazing on my skin tone. It didn't look terrible, but it just wasn't like fantastic on me. Once I layered it with Sometimes Violet, I felt like I was able to make it work. And what I'll say about that is that has more to do with just my skin tone and my undertone than with the performance of the product itself, because it wasn't ashy. It wasn't ashy. I know people were talking about the Fenty blushes being ashy and not really working well with really anyone's skin tone, but particularly deeper skin tones. I did not feel that that was the issue here. I just felt like I'm very yellow, and sometimes shades with the purple in them, as much as I love purple, for whatever reason, I feel like I can make purple eyeshadow work, but this particular tone wasn't really working for me. I feel like the person that this would work for is somebody with a lighter skin tone than me. So that is that's my only kind of qualm as far as the face palette goes, but I feel like I love the rest of the shades. I really like an orange blush, especially for the warmer months, and the shade Magenta, which is stunning. I feel like I look good in cool tone pinks, like cool kind of blue tone pinks, and that is what Magenta is. So overall, I do like the face palette. I probably won't be reaching for Honey Never Spoils a ton unless I use it as an eyeshadow. For some reason, I feel like eyeshadows, this shade, I can make work, but putting it directly on the face as a standalone like blush color, it's not my journey. So anyway, I'm gonna move to the side a little bit so you guys can see the first look. I'm going to talk about the first look I did with the palette. So for my first look, guys, I went with the pinkier tones in the palette. I was really drawn to the shade Live a Little. And as you'll see in the look, like this was kind of like the foundation of the look. This is the shade that I put in the outer V. And then I went in with, I think it was Mauve's Mist. You guys, Mauve's Mist, yeah, I think it was Mauve's Mist kind of in this part of the eye, like the inner lid crease. And again, keeping in theme, I used the shade Petals because I really wanted some pink. But the first look ended up being pretty monochromatic, which I like that option. You can do monochromatic looks with this because you could use Moss and the Peaceful Path and get yourself like a greeny toned eyeshadow look. You can stay pinky with it. You could stay neutral. So there's some versatility here, and I really liked how that look came out. I felt really good in it. For the second look, which is what I'm wearing now, I really wanted the shade Moss to be featured in the look, and so that's where I started, and you can see that's what I have in like the outer V of this look. And I wanted to play with some of the more neutral shimmers in the palette, so there's some Serenade in here and a little bit of, I want to say either Balanced Beauty or Balanced Font. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I didn't really keep the best track of which shades went there, but you will see in the tutorial or in the demo at least what shades I used for this palette. But this is one that I've gotten a lot of compliments. The first two looks that I've worn or created with this palette, I have gotten several compliments already. I always have people asking me what's on my eyes anytime I wear an Adept shadow. So if the brand is newer to you, I definitely would say this could be a really fun one to start with. I was just so excited to see this. It's giving very romantic, very guarded. And let's talk about like the packaging for a second. Like this lacy packaging is just very sultry. I really, really like it. I think it's incredibly beautiful. Going back to the face palette really quickly, also has the same packaging. Also has the same packaging. And again, these shades are really, really pretty. Really pretty. Honey Never Spoils probably just isn't my perfect shade. I don't think it looked bad. Now, I'm not saying it looked bad on me, but I just thought like I would probably mix it with magenta. I think that's one of the things I'm going to try next time is just like mixing the shades. Because sometimes like it just needs a little extra something, a little extra color in there to make it work for you. But I think it's worth it because I really like the formula, you know, just the quality. Because I did, you know, I think the last release from Adept, somebody was like, oh, it's so expensive, but I'm telling you guys, like the Adept formula is just, it's incredible. It's really, really good. I'll tell you, I was really happy to see this come back. Okay, this packaging come back because I really like this. This is the Flying Fiddles palette. This came out last year. This is a really beautiful fall palette as well. But I like how these seasonal palettes are offering us something different. Practical fall, and this is more like whimsical fall. They're both really, really pretty. But I just wanted to show you guys like the packaging of this because I like vibe. It's very, can I say sexy? Will I get demonetized? It is. It's just really sultry. There's something like sensual about it that I really like the laciness. Like I really like the packaging. I'm really grateful to Adept for sharing this with me. Like it was really nice of them to send this to me. I had a code with Adept for a while now, I would say several months, but I have purchased all of my previous Adept palettes myself. So this was my first time receiving a collection in PR, and I just, you know, I'm so thankful, really appreciate them sharing these beautiful products with me. Now, I would love to know what you guys think about this collection. Is this something that you're interested in? I would say definitely the eyeshadow palette. The eyeshadow palette is, to me, like the star. And then the face palette, if you look good in kind of like these muted blushes, yes. I will say, like, the palettes are magnetic. So if you have another face palette from Adept, you could actually pop these out and play around. I could put something else in here if I wanted to, because I do really like the rest of the shades, and I could see this looking really pretty on one of my friends who has like a different skin tone than me. I think this is just like a little muted on me, but this magenta shade is really where it's at, and I can't help myself. Like, look at that. That is pretty. I love a cool tone pink. It's really, really pretty. And then the duality, that's pretty cool. Those are pretty cool. But do you see what I'm saying with the Honey Never Spoils? A little muted. A little muted for me. I got it to blend, but muted. Anyway, you guys, let me know in the comments down below what you think of this collection. Are you interested? Do you have any other Adept Cosmetics favorites that you would like me to do looks with? You know, let me know your thoughts. I would love, love, love to hear from you guys. I personally think that this is a really stunning fall collection. To my knowledge, this is not limited edition, so if you can't get it right away, I don't think that you need to rush out and purchase it, because there are like a ton of launches coming out right now, so you have a little bit of time to weigh your options. And then if you do decide on this collection, I don't think that you will feel bad about it. Like I said, the majority of my experience with Adept has been incredibly positive, and I really do like their formulation. So if you're waiting to figure out like budget stuff, or figure out like, I want to look at what's in my collection, there's a little time. There's a little bit of time for you to pick this one up. And if you do decide to pick it up, please consider using my code. It helps me out a lot, and I really appreciate that because I reinvest in my channel. But with that being said, thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate you. Please make sure to like this video if you enjoy content like this. Definitely leave me a comment. I love hearing from you guys. I have just felt so empowered by you guys, and just appreciative of you leaving really kind comments and engaging with my content. Like, I really appreciate it. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel. I would love to have you join my little corner of the internet, where we hang out, we chat about makeup, sometimes earrings, and we keep it pretty chill over here. With all of that being said, I hope you are having a wonderful day, and I hope to see you again in my next video. Thank you so much. Bye.